3, 2, 1, go!
Hey there, my name is Taylor and this is a recap of the DFW Spring Series race number 4 on May 15th. So normally I'm a road racer, but I recently bought a mountain bike and decided to go out and do a mountain bike race with my brother, Rusty. I was in the beginner category, my brother's in the expert category, so you won't actually see any of him in this race, but it's still nice to go out and participate in the same race with him, even if we're in different waves. So I started with, I think, 11 other riders. There were 12 of us total, and this was my second time around this course ever. So we showed up to the race early and we did one warm-up lap. That was my first time doing the course, and what you're watching now is the second time. I had no idea what to expect because I had never been in a mountain bike race before, but right now in the race I was feeling super amped up and excited about this because I assumed these people were about my skill level, probably a little better when it comes to handling, maybe a little worse when it comes to power. And it was really exhilarating to have this rider in front of me and somebody behind me to keep me motivated to move fast through these things. When left to my own devices, I might go a little slower because I'm not sure of my own handling. But I can watch this guy in front of me and figure, okay, he's probably not dramatically better than me, so I can probably do the same lines as him. And if he's hitting these corners and not catching a foot on a root or washing out of the corner or anything like that, then clearly I should be able to do it too. So that was awesome, and it kept me in high spirits on the first lap. I forgot to mention, there's a bottle on the course right there, a little bit of a hazard. This is a 2-lap race for the beginner category. The intermediate does 3 laps, the elite does 4 laps, but this is short, and the laps take about 15 minutes, so this is like a 30-minute race. I'm not going to be showing the whole lap, going to be cutting in and out of the interesting bits, but for the first part here I'm going to just let this play because this was the most interesting part for me, when there was a rider close in front of me and a rider close behind, like I mentioned, so it felt like I was really in the mix. This was exciting. So rider in front of me puts a foot down right here. This was a portion in the pre-race that my brother warned me about where there's this uphill turn and it's kind of sandy, and then you feel like you're in the clear, but you're not. You have to go through the chicane right after that, and then you're kind of in the clear. So I knew that chicane was coming. I didn't build up too much speed right before then, but yeah, I don't think I put a foot down when the rider in front of me did, so I was happy about that. I can't remember if I put a foot down anywhere in this race. I probably did at some point. But yeah, lots of tight little corners here. This part of the course I felt like, as a mountain bike novice, I have done, mountain bike rides before, but never a race. This part of the trail in particular, felt like it was mostly slalom, kind of these tight back and forth corners through trees, and not really any up and down or rocks or technical features or anything like that. So I enjoyed this. This was a nice introduction for me to what all this is about, and I'm sure the more experienced mountain bikers watching this video are looking at these lines that I'm taking and just shaking your head. Don't worry, I'm shaking my head too. I know these are bad lines, I just don't know how to do any better yet, and I'm working on it. So hopefully in the coming weeks I can get some footage from other races where I do better than this. But yeah, I am feeling good at this point, and my thought process in this race is I want to just try to stay close to the person in front of me so that I can do the same line that they do and have that confidence by proxy. And then really there's a couple kind of open parts on this course where we're either on sidewalk or some kind of pavement, and there's opportunities to pass, whereas on these single track sections you can't. There's how am I going to get around this guy in front of me? I don't know, it seems impossible. So I know that coming from the road racing that I normally do and the crits, I'm expecting that I have more power than the other people in this category, so I should be able to go past them on the open section. So this is one of the open sections, and if I felt like I was being held up by the guy in front of me, I might have tried to go around him here, but I didn't. I felt like I was kind of struggling to keep up with the guy in front of me, so I didn't want to go around him. And this is where the course starts to get a little more technical. You can see we'd had a little bit of a downhill there and then back into an uphill, so it's getting a little more interesting. And then this kind of little hop over the road. I did not jump over this, unlike these cool guys in front of me. Maybe one of these days I will be rad enough to do that, but I'm just doing my best to hang on here and try to keep this guy in my sights as we are barreling through this course. Yeah, the practice lap I think probably took me 20 plus minutes, maybe 21, going very slow, thinking about everything. And this lap was my fastest one on the day, and I think it ended up under 15 minutes. Oh man, that was a terrible corner. So this is already like way faster than I'm used to going. And like I said, I've never done a mountain bike race before. So yeah, just enjoy, watch my terrible line choices here. And occasionally I get in, felt pretty good about that, going around the banked corner there. That's not something you ever get a chance to do road riding. So really excited to be able to do that mountain biking. Also, quick note about like the gear for this ride. So I'm riding a Canyon Lux Trail CF7, which is like brand new. I had done one other ride before this, and in the warm-up lap for this race, my brother and I, were just kind of tooling around, and I must have hit a stick or something, and it crashed into my derailleur, locked up my rear wheel completely. And once I got the wheel spinning again, the derailleur was completely out of alignment. We tried to realign it in the time in between our warm-up lap and the race starting, but guy in front of me got a foot down there. I think he like high centered or pedal struck, so I tried not to repeat the mistake, and I don't think I did. Anyway, my derailleur was kind of messed up, which fortunately in the kind of middle of the rear cog was where I wanted to spend most of the time in this race, and that gear wasn't too messed up. So it wasn't exactly single speed, but I had maybe 3 or 4 gears I could really work with here without having to be concerned about dropping a chain off either end or clicking nonstop. And also in terms of gear, I'm wearing the GoPro chest strap, which was a new thing for me, which was comfortable enough, but definitely sweaty, especially with the long sleeves here. It was like, the height I think was 100 degrees and it was humid, so not the best clothing choice for me for the next race. I'll definitely be wearing short sleeves like I normally do for road riding, but I thought the long sleeves would be nice for like branches and trees and stuff, but it just didn't end up mattering. You're probably noticing I'm going around most of the features here. I went over one of the really easy kind of curvy wood features, but for the most part I'm just taking the bypass on all of these. I'm not trying to do anything fancy, go off any jumps or ramps or anything like that. I'm just trying to stay on the dirt trail and keep the rubber side down and not crash, really. My goal for this race was to finish it at all and not crash, and then hopefully not be in last place and not get lapped by an elite rider or an e-bike or something like that. And so far, so good. I guess another stretch goal was don't put a foot down, but I don't know. I'm sure I messed up at some point. I'm not sure I'll be able to tell on this footage. And maybe you can hear from the audio, maybe not because I'm talking too much, but I was fully amped up at this point. I don't have a heart rate monitor because I, again, with the gear choice, I didn't do my normal chest mount heart rate monitor. I was just wearing a watch, and for whatever reason it didn't record heart rate for the first 2 miles, which the lap is 3.5 miles. So just no heart rate here, but I was keyed up. So here, I saw this rider go up on the platform to my left. I mentioned I wasn't doing any of these, fancy features, and I thought, okay, he's probably a better mountain bike rider than me, so I'm gonna let him go around. I probably didn't have to, maybe this was being too nice. I should have stayed in front of him, but he's already gone. So clearly he was a better mountain bike rider than me, and I should have let him go, I guess. So my strategy is I know I'm not that great at the handling thing. I'll try to make it up on the flats, which we'll get to here in a minute. But yeah, that was interesting to be at this decision point in the race where I'm on the ground and this guy's 3 or 4 feet in the air up on this ramp. I'm like, okay, dude, I guess go around me if you want. This seems cool. And yeah, I'm just wincing at all these terrible lines I'm taking through these corners. It's hard to watch, even for me who was making these decisions. And on this log, I high centered because I was going way too slow. I had high centered on that in our warm-up lap, and then I was coming up to it. I'm like, oh crap, it's that log again. What do I do? And I didn't have a plan, so I should have gone over it faster, I think, and tried to pull my front wheel up to get more clearance. But really what I ended up doing on the next lap, and what I should have done on this lap as well, was just go around it. There's a bypass route. I didn't need to deal with that log. Don't lose too much time going around it. So that's what I should have done. Skipping ahead a little bit, this is the first part where we get onto pavement, and I had managed to keep the group in my sights ahead of me, so I hadn't lost that much time, and I figured this is my chance to make up some ground. So I get down real low arrow, which is why this camera angle is so bad. Sorry, you get to watch my knees. And I'm guessing that I'm stronger than these riders, and I can close this gap up pretty quick. But I make a mistake right here, which is I get onto this guy's wheel and I want to be like kind of nice on the one hand, but on the other hand I'm thinking he's probably better than I am at the technical mountain biking part of this, so maybe I want to be behind him so that next time we get onto the single track I can follow his lines. What I didn't consider is that like this is my chance to shine in the race. Like this plays to my strengths on this part of the course, so I need to take everything I can during this part, and then if people pile up behind me during the single track, then that's their problem, right? Like they have to be strong enough to get around me for that. But also this guy just turned out to be slower than I wanted to, even on the single track part. So like double mistake, double whammy there. But you know, first time racing, so you know, live and learn. But yeah, so we get dumped back onto the single track, and it's a short section, I think, but I'm able to stick pretty much right on his wheel. And I think some of the mountain bikers that are better or know the course better can like literally be right on the wheel of the person in front of them. For me, this is about as close as I could get and still be comfortable with like, keeping an eye on what the trail has in store for me. But then right here I say, okay, well, this is not fast enough. I need to get around this guy. And this opens up enough. I kind of cut the course a little bit here and then don't get back onto the turn there because it felt too sharp at the time, whatever. Just putting down some watts here, hitting the gas to get around him, and then catch up to this other rider up ahead. And at this point I'm like, okay, I really gotta, not make that same mistake again. So I'm gonna try to go around this rider too. And there's an opportunity here, so pass him on the inside. And then this other rider, I'm like, oh, I wanna get around him, but okay, we're going back on the single track. And like he's going about the speed I want to go, so I'll just sit on his wheel and instead of trying to go around, which I probably could have done here in the grass. But yeah, I felt good about being able to get past two people there on the brief little pavement section, and then I'm just trying to hang on this guy's wheel as we go through this small single track part before the start finish. So and then when we get to the start finish, it's pavement again for like 100 yards or something like that, and hopefully I do better on that first corner than I did the first time around. Anyway, this guy's doing a speed that I'm happy with, and this is like not technical. This is the most technical part right here, where you like go down a little bit and up a little bit and over some tree roots. But I've been really impressed with the mountain bike with these giant tires and the suspension. Like I'm used to riding a gravel bike around, and riding this mountain bike is like I just don't care what the roots are in the road or whatever, just go over them. So here I go around this guy on the grass, and it's hard to tell, but like the difference between this dirt single track in the middle and the like freshly mowed grass on the outside is enormous. Like it's got to be 100-watt penalty or something like that. So I feel pretty good about being able to go around somebody there when they're on the dirt and I have to go through the grass. But I'm just taking the wins where I can get them, because I'm definitely not getting anything on that single track part. First opportunity for me to take a drink there, definitely take advantage of that, and then actually cut this corner here, which I definitely should have done the first time around. And there's still somebody up ahead, but they're like kind of far away, and I think they just end up getting further away from me because I don't have somebody right behind me to like push me to go fast, and I'm kind of tired at this point, honestly, and I don't have the like mental fortitude to really push myself to go fast on these technical sections because I'm not sure about my bike handling ability. So I think I kind of let them get away as this race goes on.
Beginner.
They were asking if I was a beginner or elite. I think they were, trying to get a gauge on how fast the race is going. So let them know I was a beginner. They gave me a little cheer. That felt great. You sometimes get cheers at the grits, but there were a lot more like people just hanging out. Obviously not throughout most of the course because it's in the woods, but like at the start finish and stuff felt a lot more welcoming, I guess, or just like fun. Good atmosphere. But yeah, the lap so far has been a lot more boring than the last lap because there's like nobody around me. I was honestly kind of surprised and thinking at this time that like this is kind of lonely or like solitary, which is weird because like there's a race, there's 11 other racers, there's at least two other waves going on right now. There's all these people on the course, but like I feel like there's nobody else out here right now. And on the one hand, that's nice. It's kind of like contemplative or whatever, but on the other hand, it was hard for me to push myself to like go super hard. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not super confident in my handling, so like when there's nobody around, I don't feel that impulse to really try. But yeah, the lap kind of just continues this way, just kind of taking it easy, going around everything, trying not to crash. There's a stopped rider up here on the left. Not sure what happened to them. I asked them if they were okay. They said, yeah. I hope everything was fine with them. And also, sorry, dude, if you didn't get a finish. That sucks. Coming back onto the pavement section again, I feel like I learned my lesson from last time. Immediately, I'm going to shift into a much harder gear and start mashing the pedals to try to close up as much ground as I can, since I know I've gone slow on that technical section. Again, sorry for the camera angle. I'll fix this next time around. You get a look at my knees in the meantime. But I'm trying to get aero. Also, note to self for the future, do the narrow handlebar grip to get even more aero through this part. But yeah, it's, you know, I didn't see anybody ahead of me when I started doing this. I was just guessing that like there may be within catching distance, and I have the ability to like really mash on this part, so I'm going to do it and see what happens. And I think I do actually catch up. Yeah, so there's somebody up the road just now, and I think I catch up to get just behind them before we go back into the single track, and then I'm able to pass them again once we get out of the single track. But like, I felt great right here. I'm like, oh yeah, this is playing to my strengths. I'm able to do this. And you know, these guys have the technical skill and the maneuverability to get through the single track part, but like I have the power to do this flat part. So I'm gonna play to my strengths as much as I can. And yeah, I'm following this guy through this little section of single track. In my head, I'm just waiting for the course to open back up so I can go around him, because I don't want to repeat the mistake from last lap where I get stuck behind somebody for too long. But again, obviously, this rider's better than me at the mountain bike and stuff, so like I can't get around him here on the single track. And I'm not sure if I do the same move here, go around on the infield. No, I don't. I decided to sit behind him for a second. I'm not totally sure why, honestly. I feel like I should have gone around at one of these points. I think I was trying to be like nice again and not crowd him out somewhere, but like I should have just gone off into the grass here or shouted at him and been like, hey, I'm trying to get around, and either go through on the left or the right. But like, I don't know, too nice here. Should have gone around. So here I'm like, okay, it opens up a little bit and I finally mash. So maybe I didn't completely learn my lesson on the first lap, but here we are moving again. Again, sorry for the camera angle. I'm not totally sure if I see anybody else for the rest of this race. And right here, it's so funny. These first two little like swoopy turns on this single track, I felt so good because I was carrying so much speed from that pavement section, and then we hit this like slightly sharper corner, and I'm like, oh god, hold on, I gotta hit the brakes, gotta slow down. I don't have the skill for this. Probably it would have been totally fine for me to just keep cruising at that speed through most of this part, up until the dip at least, but like, I'm really looking forward to having the ability and the confidence in my ability to take this section at, you know, closer to the speed that I am on pavement. And yeah, I was really pleased with like how I did in this race, and also the obvious progression and improvement that I can make in my own handling ability, and how that'll make my race even more fun because I'm able to go faster through this stuff. Just really looking forward to improve here. This was my first race, like I mentioned. I came across the line, I think I was 7th out of 12 in the beginner category, which I felt was respectable for a first time ever doing a mountain bike race. And I had a great time. This was, again, the DFW Spring Series. This was out in Fort Worth. And I'm looking forward to when they move over to Irwin Park, because that's a little closer to where I live. So yeah, this was a little mix up, a little different than my normal footage. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time around. Thanks for watching.